So what do you think is the biggest problem facing the world today?
Facing the world, I think the general society that we're living in, and I would call it a capitalist society that we're living in.
I think it would have to do with issues between countries. I think just international relations.
Overpopulation, disease or something.
Bush?
I guess war right now, pretty much dealing with, was it, you know, was their purpose, was their initiative, was just war pretty much, yeah.
So what do you think is the biggest problem facing the world today?
The biggest problem facing the world today is complacency.
I think most of the biggest issues that we're dealing with right now kind of center around cultures that, like outdated cultures. You know, when you form a culture, that tends to be kind of a reaction to a certain circumstance, kind of a survival mechanism. And I think a lot of, and there are some cultures right now that don't realize that, and people are kind of in a situation where they're taking things that were created as an adaptive or survival mechanism for one situation, and they're trying to apply it to another without, and they have too absolutist a viewpoint to really realize that that there aren't really any absolutes in the world, and that translates culturally too. I mean, and I think religions in particular, there are a lot of religions that are kind of encountering that problem.
The biggest problem I think facing the world today is the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And I don't think it's because, I think what some professors here on campus, you know, are telling the big lie that it's because of privilege or oppression. That's not it, it's because of financial literacy.
Oh.
Hunger.
What do you think is the biggest problem facing the world today?
I think the nuclear problem, in the sense of the weapons.
I would have to say the government at the moment, at least in terms of the United States. I'm not really with the Bush administration.
That's a really hard question. I mean, I think it has to do with mankind. That mankind is sinful. That's why. I think that's the biggest problem in the world.
Swim with me, and we'll escape all the trouble of the present age. Finally free.
And how do you think? What do you think is the best way to go about solving that problem?
Well, I think for a lot of people, they need to know that there is a higher power other than what this world can offer.
Solving that problem, waiting until his term is up and then hoping that someone else gets elected. That's about all we can do, because I don't see him getting impeached anytime soon.
Fix complacency? Not sure. Pray.
Well, I think the main problem is the way the wealth is distributed in the world. That a very tiny minority has got all the possession of the main wealth, and so a better distribution of wealth, I think, can only be organized if you change the economical system that we're living in.
If they're more financially educated, I think the gap between the haves and have-nots will be almost non-existent.
So how would you go about solving that problem?
Foreign policy, I don't know, I'm into politics, so everything pops into my mind around that, but foreign policy between the groups, I don't know, if I knew the answer, then I think we'd all be a lot better. If it was the biggest problem in the world and you could just come up with solving it, then it wouldn't be that bad.